Well, hello to all of you very fun and very wonderful people once again. My name is Sam and I am back once again to bring you a selection of the weekly series of Weird Mind Newsroom, where for another week I'll be providing a selection of all the new releases, trailers and news that we have to come from this wide world of media. But let's not waste time on these introductions. Let's get to talk about all things media that we do have for this week. So this is a rare occasion on this series and probably gonna make it difficult for the thumbnail, but we only have one new release for this week, and it's a focus to one of the big blockbusters of the year and of the summer itself. And for the concept of what there is to expect with this title, it all comes together when it's from the father of the blockbuster creation, as Steven Spielberg has returned with a new summer film and back for the roots of the sci-fi as he released his all-new movie known as Disclosure Day. Now we have a bit of a plot this time, as we'll focus on a meteorologist played by Emily Blunt and a cybersecurity agent played by Josh O'Connor, who find themselves at the center of a movement to expose the government's cover-up of extraterrestrial secrets. The reception of this new title has been very well received with praise on its concept, its performances, especially with Emily Blunt's direction and return to form of a Spielberg event film, even if there is not much to find. They're very odd or a little underwhelming in some aspects compared to some of other Spielberg's sci-fi classics. But if you want to learn the truth and learn of all the secrets that could frighten you, then you can check this film out now in cinemas. And yes, with all that regards, that's all the new releases that we do have for this week.
Who the fuck invented Facebook?
So moving on to the first focus this week, we'll be seeing us cooking up quite a storm of a tasty meal that will quench the appetite across multiple different dishes of seasons. But now it will soon be time to prepare the dish for one more tasty serving in mind, as it'll soon be time for the final total bill as we have the release of the trailer for the final season of The Bear. Then the season will follow on for the events of the fourth season finale, with Sydney taking over the restaurant the morning after they received news from Carmi. I will focus on her ordeal of stepping into this new leadership role and the focus of Ibrahim discussing on taking the business to making it a franchise. Now, it's been a case of the series been its ups and downs, the show starting off with a strong focus, especially in the first two seasons, and while some have said the latter half of the show has seen a bit of a dwindling appeal and being a bit underwhelming, it still has some strong sense of appeal in the project direction it's taking overall. The likes of wrapping it up in a 5-season run seems to be a bit of a new modern form of all things, and I can say at least with this regards that it's still folks being a flowing narrative, that it's not taking leaps and bounds of expecting a massive spectacle every time. And I'm sure I will get around to see the rest of this series and others in due time, and I'm sure it could be a very satisfying dish when it's served up to Disney Plus from the 25th of June. The next trailer, the first of the animated fare for this week, will be giving us a new take and perspective on an iconic character getting a new form and look to adapting the well-beloved story, and it seems that chaos and hijinks will be a focus in mind for this powerful humanoid creature and his very zany hat. As we have the release of the third, it's actually the second trailer, but there's a joke in the film that explains numbering, for the upcoming new animated take on the Cat in the Hat. And in this first fully animated film version of the story, the cat, played by Bill Hader, does what he does best, spreading joy to kids in his own hilarious signature ways and transport them to a magical world of worlds that they have never seen before. In this case, he takes on the toughest job yet for the III, or the Institution of Imagination Inspiration LLC, to cheer up Gabby and Sebastian, a pair of siblings struggling with their move to a new town. Known for taking things too far, as all fails he could be the Agents of Chaos' last chance to prove himself, or else he will lose his magical hat. Now, there's been quite the gap since the first of these trailers. The film was initially supposed to have already released this year and was coming out the week before Hoppers was set to drop, but then it got moved around from one ball after another, and with The Bride and stuff, it now drops later. But even still with the delay, I do like the approach and aesthetic they're going with in this film, the likes of animation and visuals overall, from the difference of the more normal detailed look in the human world and the overly bright and colourful world of the cat's land that gives off the aesthetic of a Dr. Seuss book. I still think this could have a good sense of appeal. I know it's a case of the only comparisons with the 2003 live action movie, a film that I love and is so fucking quotable. I'm sure we a decent adaptation and overall explanation on the iconic character, but I'm sure we can see by the release of this film in the cinemas from the 6th of November. This next trailer, I would say, is probably the only biographical project on the list, and one that initially I was not expecting to see actually be a thing, as I was thinking this was a follow-up to another biopic film from about a decade ago, but it seems that so much time has passed and what was once the powerhouse in social media has become a destruction of itself, as we have the trailer for the upcoming follow-on to The Social Network with The Social Reckoning. Now, based on the memoir from the Wall Street Journal from 2021, the film will focus on Facebook engineer Frances Haugen, played by Oscar winner Maliki Madison, and Wall Street Journal reporter Jeff Horowitz, played by Jeremy Allen White, as they blow the whistle on the social network's most guarded secrets hidden by the head of this company of Mark Zuckerberg, played by Jeremy Strong. So when I heard the plans for a social network follow-up, I thought this was this really necessary? But then I can see what they can go with for the past 15 years since that first film's release. And then I heard some solid word of mouth from the CinemaCon attendants, especially with Strong's Zuckerberg, that I was quite shocked to see his look in this film, as it's scarily accurate to how he did in the late 2010s and early 2020s. From what I can see from the trailer, it also looks like it's going to be more of a serious drama tone than a slightly lighter tone of the original. And I could say from this that I have a lot of interest in this than I initially did. I'm sure it'll be worth checking this out when it does, but I guess we'll see by the release of the film at the cinemas on the 9th of October. For the next trailer and the second and last TV show in focus, it'll be time to return to a classic series from the early 2000s that has spawned a duology of beloved films and even some musical stage play. But in this case, before they proved themselves in the world of law and politics, we go back to before it all began, without the lack of blonde and pink, as we presented with the trailer for the upcoming new series based on Legally Blonde with Elle. Now set 6 years before the events of the original film, the series will follow a teenage Elle Woods as she deals with moving to Seattle and having to fit in with a crowd that sees her as an outsider and looks to find herself that will lead her to the path we know her for in the original films. It's a case that I do actually like those original two movies, and that's their moments in tone of everything, and I need to see that musical in that regards. That I feel that with a focus of showing that it was not always the perfect focus on life for this character who felt like she had everything under control seems like an interesting one. I know the likes of the prequel aspect can be a bit of a debated aspect, but there is a methods where it could work out in some form overall, and personally it seems like it could be a decent watch, which might be given it was already renewed for a second season already, but I'm sure we'll see when it all comes about when it premieres on Amazon Prime from the 1st of July. The second last trailer we'll be giving a focus to is in the area that even with the varying will they won't they seem to keep on making them, and that is in the side of the live action remakes from Disney, where similar to the appeal of how the lead hears the ocean, the box office calls them to wonder how far they'll go for the profit, as it will be seen with this overall next take on a film whose remake feels really short in release, as we have the final trailer for the upcoming live action remake of Moana. This is of course based on the film from the 2016 that follows on the titular character who is a Polynesian princess who destined to travel across the vast oceans to see what lies beyond her home. Soon that chance comes to pass when her home begins to show signs of decay and despair from the removal of the heart of Te Fiti. It will soon go on a journey to locate the demigod of Maui and restore the heart of its rightful place before the world turns to ruin. So it is a case that the live action remakes have been here, there and everywhere in quality, with some that are fine, some are bad, and some that are better than people make them out to be. But it is a case with this one that I feel is way too soon and too short of a release indifference for the title. I feel this over time it looks fine, but given that the original film was not even 10 years old, even by its release, would be something that I will question in general to this. But I would not find me surprised if we get overabundance of projects in the world from these remakes getting shorter and shorter in release from animated to live action, but I'm sure we'll see by its outcome, and for me to add this to my eventual part of the rewatchathon. Likely this is probably like part 3 or something like that, by the release of this title from the 10th of July. The last two trailers might go against my ruling and stuff, but I'm going to give a focus to this studio of animation that I hold a special place in my heart for, and in the case we'll be discussing them with their big release next week, that I was not expect to see the first look at this next project until about a week or two after that one. But in this regard, it looks like the new perspective we'll be making us an offer that we cannot refuse, as Pixar has come along and unveiled to the first teaser trailer for their newest film, the title of Gatto. Then the film will follow Nero, voiced by Mark Ruffalo, who after years of maneuvering the canal-ridden superstitious city of Venice, begins to question whether he's lived his right lives. In depth to Rocco, voiced by Lawrence Fishburne, the local feline mob boss, Nero soon finds himself in a quandary and is forced to forge a truly unexpected friendship that may finally lead him to his purpose, unless Venice gets the better of him first. The ideas of the concept of what is essentially a cat version of The Godfather seems like an interesting foundation to start with, and as seen with this short teaser we got an interrogation scene that main two leads in focus. I also have to say the new approach to this appealing visual animation does look really great, and I have to say the mixed media could be something interesting to see. And I'm not sure if it's a similar visual media that's in the upcoming Toy Story film, but I guess we'll see by next week. But from this teaser so far, I am very more interested, as I am with most Pixar titles, and I'll be for sure checking this out when the film releases in the cinemas from the 5th of March next year. With all that regards now, that's all the trailers that we do have for this week. Jason and the Pussycats. So similar to last week in focus and tone, we have another set of conferences in focus, the gaming and for the first two of this week. And while last week we focused on the state of play of PlayStation and saw a great summer of many games fest, but for the first this week we focus on the other side of that often console wars with the new time for Xbox and Microsoft. The focus is just a bit under 30 titles announced at this event. Although I will not cover all of them in deep focus, I will at least acknowledge all of them in quite an entertaining showcase. So let's delve into what was announced in particular. So they started off strong with the presentation with the focus on all new title in the popular series of Gears of War with E-Day. That will be a focus of the events that happens before the original title and showing the start of the decimation of society after a state of calm and peace from dangerous adversaries, and seeing a younger version of some of the most familiar and popular characters, including Marcus Phoenix from the series, making a return after that change of cast in the more recent titles. But I'm sure to be an appeal, and given his official Xbox exclusive title, I'm sure we may bring some appeal when it releases on the 6th of October. Then from sci-fi over to fantasy, we were then treated to an all-new look and focus of the world of the upcoming new entry and revival of the Fable series, which gives the focus on some of the visuals of the narrative as well as the ideal and possible ally or antagonist with Isabelle, who's being portrayed by Hayley Atwell. And I have to say, to the visuals of the character design and some of the narrative in the world that is about to be presented and played through is going to be something that will appeal overall. And there's literally a well-worthy entry in this series. I'm sure we'll be giving this a try when the game now releases on the 23rd of February next year. Then it'll be time to be a focus of all one thing, and that is to finish the fight in an all-new lock-in system too, as we got an all-new look at the upcoming remake of the original Halo with Campaign Evolved that showed off the focus of the updated visuals and the confirmation that this new version will be adding 3 new extra missions that will seen as a prologue to the original game that will explain the hectic all-out action the original title started with. And I have to say that I hope with all forms of this series we'll be seeing a lot of mixed outcomes, meaning that this will basically put it in the right direction. But I guess we'll see by its release from the 28th of July. It was then given a focused all new look at the newest title in the Plague Tale series with Resonance that will be seeing a focus on the realm of the dangerous curse and plague hitting the realm of the ancient gladiatorial Minoan period. I'll have the connecting effects of the Middle Ages too, and it seems to be like an action focused approach to the usual stealth elements, maybe something to delve into and be worth a try when a new entry of the series launches on the 27th of August. Then we're getting a focus over to the new realm of anime based titles. We got a new look and better showing off of the 4th Persona remake, a remaster, showing the updated visuals, gameplay and narrative that made the original beloved title. I'll give some new fans of the series a chance to play this one when it now got an official release date, dropping on the 18th of February next year. It was then time for some Undead Survival, as was available a new entry of the State of Decay series that will of course see you custom made survivor traversing across a decaying landscape in search of supplies, refuge and to take down some evolved and unsettling zombies that roam the lands, and I'm sure will have it appeal and the continued evolving of the series to fans when the title releases sometime next year. Then we head to the first of the updates, which was for season 20 of Sea of Thieves, giving new custom sea updates to make your own custom expeditions. But the next reveal and focus in titles will be getting a new look and respected new entry of the Metro series of 2049, an ideal of the gameplay and visuals of the narrative that will see a focus to a change in the regime of different factions in post-war Russia. I do say that a new Metro is probably well worth a release of a new entry this time around. So far it does look decent. I'm sure we'll give it a try when it releases in February of next year as well. Then we have a new indie title that looks to be what I would see as a spiritual successor to Untitled Goose Game with Bad Magpie that will see you as a titular bird that may be missing its wings, and for the ordeal will have you wielding a flaming branch and causing chaos in a meadow and nearby town. It has the vibe of that Goose Game, and I'm all for trying this title out, but I'm sure we can see about its release next year. Then what I initially thought was some DLC for the newest Neo title, we are actually the reveal of a new game from Team Ninja with a sequel to Wo Long with Wings of Ember. That'll be another high-octane, fast-paced battle title of the studio that I'm sure if the appeal from the first title is there, I'm sure the follow will surely be worth a play, and we can try it out when it releases in early 2027. Then something that seems a little on the nose with some things that are presented in the modern day, but we have a form of a similarity game with the title of Join Us that will see you become the leader of your own cult and make the effort to recruit new followers, change society in your own ways, and all other forms of hijinks and ordeal. I'm sure will be something worth a bit of a laugh and not be the title that will ruin you financially and your lineage. It'll be worth a play when it releases in March of next year. Then the focus from a sacrifice and a saga, we have another title coming to us from the Hellblade series with a new title just known simply as Senua that we set after the events of the sequel and see Senua trapped between life and death in the form of a purgatory. I'm sure we can give this title a try before this new title makes its debut and continue this character's saga releases sometime in the new year. Then the case that it was 2 pieces from Bethesda, and the first started with some free week for Fallout 76 and the real focus on unveiling an all campaign DLC for Doom the Dark Ages with Revelations. That will see the Doomslayer in Purgatory must battle against the demons on their home turf in Hell as the land is frozen over with the focus of dealing with the dark truths and hellscape of his twisted mind. I'm sure if this appeal of the series is still there for many people, it'll be worth playing this new title when the DLC drops on the 7th of July. Then it's time to get crazy and wild with a blast back in time the world of high-octane craziness as we have a new reveal of an all-new entry, the title of popular Crazy Taxi with World Tour. That will see you take on jobs and bring a thrill of the customers across multiple locations across the globe. While there's been a bit of a concern of some elements of AI tools that have been possibly confirmed to be used for this title, I'm sure it'll have some appeal to be fixed before its release on the consoles sometime next year. Then we had one bit of tech-based news with the unveiling of a new 25th anniversary Series X that will bring back the iconic form of the translucent console. It actually looks really cool, and we'll love to see a return of some of these for items in the future for other consoles, with a set dropping in November, and the case that the new head of the company doing a sort of a big W in this regards by giving all that that came to that showcase at sub-screen event in the US a free version of the console when it does release later this year. Then we had a focus on our title with some small updates on Age of Empires 4, Enemies of the North DLC coming later this year, and the next reveal was surprisingly a sequel to the Minecraft Dungeons series that will see you and a group of friends take on a new and improved dungeons full of mysteries, discoveries, and new enemies to deal with, and I'm sure may have appeal to those that enjoy the original title, but we'll see some entertainment with its follow-up, but I guess we will see by its release on September 29th. This next title I will have to say is probably the title I was the most surprised and invested in, and this is with the reveal of a new title known as Magician the Devil's Deal that will see you play as a man named Jacob who seems to have made some deal with the devil, and using his powerful magical tricks and spell casting will have to find a way to get out of the hellish landscape. It just seems from the visual art style and unique approach to the gameplay mechanics, this is one that really invested me. And personally, I'm all for playing this title, and I'm sure it'll be worth playing when it releases sometime next year. Then a title that actually had a cool looking approach and a new look at the title of Valor Mortis that will see an alternate universe where Napoleon had continued a never-ending war and has spawned a sort of supernatural curse. The idea of a Souls-like based on a bit of a real-world conflict seems interesting, and from the demo that released on the day, it is proper solid, so I'm sure it'll be well worth trying out when the title releases on the 24th of September. The next two in focus was another pair of games already released getting updates with Elder Scrolls Online with Thieves Guild. I really question if Bethesda's ever going to make Elder Scrolls 6 at this point. It just feels like an overlong joke. Then a National Parks update for Flight Sim, but the next is technically a game that has released, but I will allow it, as while the title of Where Winds Meet is the major focus in mind with now released on Xbox, it's more a deal of an all-new expansion with Hidden Mountain that will see you take on a new journey and battle some of the ancient mystery and legacy of Uncover to do battle against all the tall and dangerous mountains on the horizon. I'm sure we'll see about this ordeal when the DLC releases sometime in July. Then it's about time for one Metroidvania-based title for the entire showcase, as we have gotten an all-new look at the newest entry of the Castlevania series with Belmont's Curse. They'll have you play as the daughter of Trevor Belmont with Rose as she enters and takes on what manifests inside these halls of a spirit in the heart of Paris, and seems like the focus appeal of the overall series is still present throughout this franchise. I'm sure it'll be quite the interesting take on the series and tried to release on the 15th of October. Then a title that was very surprised in the visual department alone, that was with the new game of Favarium that will see you in a cozy based title that looks like a game that was made to be a Studio Ghibli title, but it seems like it could be some very cozy and comfy based game, and I'm sure it'll be worth a try when it releases sometime next year. Then in the case of while there was not majorly but a lot shown in this next reveal, a small tease alone has really set the world on fire, as after initially being a leak, the 6th entry of Persona is in development, and it could be tapping into some more supernatural based focus of this cryptic teaser. I'm sure this could be well worth playing and checking out when the title releases in the near future. Then from a big reveal to another massive one, we return to a far off place full of magic, fantasy and dragons. After being dormant for a new entry for over a decade, beside a certain remake trilogy, the small purple dragon is back, as we have given a new reveal of an all new Spyro title with a realm beyond. They'll see the iconic platformer back in his natural look and form and see a massive new world to explore. Now for welcome him back and give this a success, it looks like a certain orange marsupial may be back sooner than later as well, but I guess we'll see by his title's release in the spring of next year. Then the second title in focus was a game that appealed to me from last year's showcase, and that is with the title of Clockwork Revolution. It's giving me some steampunk vibes, a little bit of the world of Bioshock, and still a game that is appealing to me, and I'm sure we're going to be checking this out and exploring the vast new world when it releases sometime next year. And then to round out all the new reveals and looks, the showcase was our last event was the focus of the newest entry of Call of Duty with Modern Warfare 4. With the focus and new look at the upcoming DMZ mode, the game will get to cross a vast no man's land in abandoned town as you make your way to obtain a target or item and extract out of there, and is showing off more of the back to roots and grounded approach to the game, but I'm sure we'll see by its promise of that title when it releases on the 23rd of October. But with all that, that was all of Xbox Showcase had to offer, and I will say that was quite the appealing showcase that had a lot of titles that were straight to the point and not overly reliant on the updates to already released games, made the new reveals and surprises, made it a top of tier showcase, and I am well intrigued to see what this new head of studio will have to offer. I need to get an Xbox at some point when I can too, because I work on that. But what are your thoughts on all these Xbox Showcase? What are you most excited from this event, and what did you hope to have been revealed? Let me know what you think down below on all discussions, we can talk about them there. Then from one presentation to another, it has been a bit of time for this one, but we have finally got an actual official release Nintendo Direct for the last of the showcases. That was not an Indie World nor partner showcase, but more the first for included directs. And while there is a bit of a mixed opinion on this one, there is a lot of fair amount of announcements, which at least over 30 of them, to talk on from this presentation, so let's see what Nintendo brought to us in the wave of projects in focus. But before with the direct reveals, we have one or two updates to treat titles that was not shown off but given an official reveal recently, with the first being the upcoming Switch adaptation of Elden Ring Tarnished Edition has now got an official release for August 28th after being initially delayed from 2025 due to some poor performance limits initially from some showcases, but it seems like they're on the mend with this solid outcome when it releases in about 2 months time, so I guess we'll see. The second game not shown in the event but given an update was given the aspect of the recent title of the newly massive Lego Batman Legacy Dark Knight has finally unveiled the release date for the port for Switch 2, now set to drop on the 18th of September, which also coincides with the release of the big Joker based DLC. So I guess the delay of about 3 or 4 months is doable in that regards to play the new title. And then the last of the events not shown but had recently been given updates to release of the console was the reveal that the title of Hell Is Us is also coming to the Switch 2, with that version releasing a year late after the PC and PS5 version coming out on the 24th of September. In case I have been meaning to try and pick this game up, so trying on the go may be the best approach to this now, as the other formats seem to be a bit more of a short window of release to pick up, but I guess we'll see. Now we started off the event with the first party titles, the new look at the upcoming Rhythm Heaven Groove game that will see you beat to the music and some new challenges, co-op games, and even a special rhythm-based RPG campaign that seems like it could be a fun little game to try when it releases now on the 1st of July. And the array of the titles being shown from the event, it started with the confirmation that the upcoming entry of the Onimusha series will be making its way over to the Switch 2, and will be bringing the high-octane action, sword battles, and visual narrative of the hybrid console as well, with the title dropping on the same day as the other consoles from the 24th of September. Another big third-party title on the way is a new system with the RPG-based game of Dragon's Dogma 2 that will have you hacking and slashing across vast ancient lands full of powerful dangers and allies to help you on your journey to restoring the land and also learn of its many secrets. Now I'm sure it'll be worth trying out, released on the 9th of October. Then a surprising release came to us from the event that was revealed. The original entry of Stellar Blade is also coming to the console that will bring the fast-paced and high-octane title that was a hit and a bit of drama when it releases a little over 2 years ago. I'm sure it could be well worked out in its handheld, but I'm sure we'll give this a try when it releases sometime later this year. We got another look at the game that may appeal for the visuals alone. That was the new co-op title of Orbital that will see you and a partner take 3 months to travel across a vibrant and colourful galaxy to save the day with some unique gameplay elements, and everything I see, anything of it, I'm more interested to try it out. Thankfully, we do have a release date for it now. It's set to drop on the 3rd of September. Then while this was revealed the state of play last week, I have to acknowledge that the upcoming remake of Rayman Legends was also shown off this event, and it's coming to the handheld. They'll tell us a bit more of what to expect with updated visuals, 4 new music tracks, and new worlds, levels, and narrative elements, and I'm sure it'll be exciting to return to this title with this new dimension and fresh coat of paint when it drops on the 1st of October. Then the developers behind Untitled Goose Game has come along and give us a proper new look at their next game of Big Walk, where you take control of some goofy little sphere-based creatures and head off on a big cozy walk in the far wilderness and solving strange puzzles found along the journey. I feel this could be a fun and enjoyable cozy co-op title to try out with friends until it gets up and moving from the release on the 4th of August. Then it'll be time to get your crew together and set sail for some high cuisine, as we have the reveal of an all-new one-piece game of Grand Gourmet that will see you take control and create your own form of the Barati and make its best franchising of the floating cuisine with the aid of all Straw Hat crew by your side. But I'm sure we give it a tasty meal when it drops on the 22nd of October. Now, while the next mainline title will be another year away, we will return to one of the most popular media IPs. The recent title of Pokopia is back with some more new content in the form of a new domain to build some new locales and scenery to have your Pokemon friends, with an underwater domain with the water types that seem to be well due to see more to come from this game. The only nitpick I have for this is the unveiling that there's all, besides there being a free update and then confirmed after a paid DLC expansion, proves this after happening, but hopefully the price is not too bad, especially after paying the price for the title. But I guess we'll see with the update and DLC coming out in the summer. Then the next, the first party title is getting a new update as the direct after unveiling back in September. We finally got an all new look at the upcoming entry of the Fire Emblem series with Fortune's Weave that will help you take your chance to become the champions of a high octane contest across multiple champions across the lands and prove who's the best while stopping a powerful evil from destroying it all. I definitely need to get to playing these titles and stream some of them, and I'd probably get some recommendations from my friend who's a big fan of this series. Hopefully it'll be worth a place to get on this series, and I'm sure it will be worth trying when it releases now on the 18th of September. Then what I thought was a follow-up to the Bubblegum Splatoon knockoff game, it seems it was mistaken, as we have a follow-up to the title Ninjala that will see you transport to a strange world for the breakage of an ancient seal that will see you skills and bubblegum usage to help battle your way to get back home and save the day, and I'm sure it could be worth trying out when the title releases when it comes out in the summer of next year. Then there's a focus to the Great Ape after getting some special new focus in limited time event known as the DK Challenge that will see you take on over 30 challenges across multiple classic titles all the way to Bonanza, like some special cards collection that could be an interesting approach to try when the event's going live from the 10th of June to the 1st of September. Then for non-limited events, I think, or just limited events in certain aspects, the recent Bonanza DLC got a special crossover for the Mario 40th anniversary, an all-new update featuring a costume for DK and Pauline based on Mario and Luigi, and some elements of items from those games. They'll be part of some of these limited events, with the first one available now to start, so up to the end of this month, so go check it out if you can. Then the developers of Vampire Survivors have come along and announced an all-new title that will be crossing over to the popular anime of Jujutsu Kaisen to create the Rumble Survivor that will have you play as some of the popular characters from the series. You do battle against waves of enemies and they battle one another to the best of the best, and I'm sure it'll be happy its appeal if Survivors was great as well, but I'm sure we'll see the title dropping sometime later this year. Then for more third-party entries making the jump to the hybrid console, we got the confirmation that the upcoming title of Lords of the Fallen 2 will be on the way. The focus of high-octane action and Souls-like gameplay that I'm sure will have the original had its appeal to get a follow co-op, then I'm sure it'll be worth trying when it releases sometime later this fall. Then a time I'm all for coming out on this console was the announcement that the popular game of Liza P will be dropping on the console, with the complete edition that will include the original Souls-like based narrative based on the stories of Pinocchio, as well as the add-on DLC, all in one package. Now everyone will be playing this again when it releases in the digital version on August 5th and a physical edition coming on the 2nd of October. Then another high-octane action title will be on the way, and real soon the newest entry of the Devil May Cry series will be coming to the console with the Hunter edition of 5 with Dante, Virgil, V, and Nero as you change the world with high-octane weapons and other means to take control. And while it may not be the new entry of a 6th title, this will appeal a bit more until those come around, with the Switch 2 version coming out on the 23rd of June. Then we got the reveal of an all-new entry of the Muramosa series, the title of Revenant Blades. Will not be showing too much of the title and gameplay. We got a look at the visuals, some brief narrative, and some of the characters that will be part of your journey as well as we head off on the adventure, with the title set to release sometime in early 2027. Then to focus a new batch of Switch 2 editions in the way, with the Xenoblade Chronicles trilogy coming to Switch 2 with a focus of updated visuals and new features from transport methods, weapons, and upgrades, as well more all in focus to help bring these series to 4K, now releasing in waves, with the first title dropping on the day of the event, with physical out on July 30th, 2 out digital image July 30th, physical October 1st, and then 3 dropping on both physical and digital from December 3rd. But if you're looking for a new title in that series, and you are also looking to see unveiled, the new title in the form of Genesis is also on the way. That will see a new world, characters, action, and narrative of strange and unknown curse that will need to be resolved and restore the land to its rightful glory, and I'm sure it'll be something that will appeal to the fans, with this title set to drop sometime next year. Then it's time for an all-new first-party event, and it's time to get active again and return to an all-new and improved Woohoo Island, as it's the release of the Switch Sports Resort reveal that will see up to 12 new games and more, from classics like golf, tennis, and archery to new ones like skateboarding and fun wrestling. And it's nice to see the return of the Island of Paradise, and it sure be fun to play on the title releases on the 22nd of October this year. It will then be time for a high-octane adventure, as with the newest title based in the series of RuneScape with Dragon Wilds, and will be a focus on seeing how all of it will come together to scavenge, loot, and battle to save the lands from the dragon curse. That will be an interesting approach and try, and I'm sure it'll be worth a try to play on your own or with friends when it releases on the 15th September. Then another iconic IP is making its leap into the board game party titles, with the character of Hello Kitty getting a Mario Party inspired game with Party Land that will see you play across 6 boards and up to 40 minigames to challenge the rivals of the best in all the Party Land. I'm sure we see what will come about this game when it releases on the 29th of October. Then we got another new brief look at the upcoming retelling of the original Star Fox game, getting a new 4K upgrade to Switch 2, a brief look at the new visuals and updated narrative into play in the title, and with the confirmation of free demo available to play now on the console before the team will take off and releases on the 25th of June. Then taking a page of the new recent King's Quest titles, it looks like Final Fantasy is also getting the HD 2D remake approach with the title of Resonance. I believe we'll be giving the recently shuttered mobile titling a full pixelated visual treatment to the title. I'm sure it'll appeal to see more of the original game would get the same treatment, with the title set to release on the 22nd of October. Then things are getting really weird and goofy, but in a really fun way, as the sequel to the title of Piku Niku is on the way, and we bring a lot of weird and colorful things from odd character designs, strange narratives, and conspiracies, and all in an all-new dimension of 3D. And while it looks like goofy, I'm definitely giving this a try and release it sometime next year. Then it's time to focus on the return to another popular IP, is getting a new open world title adventure of Dragon Quest Worlds with the Withered World. That will see you travel across the vast lands and obtain many of the well-known and even some new monsters found from the popular JRPG series. I'm sure we'll have its appeal to the fans over time, with it set to release now on the 3rd of December. Then after being quiet since the Switch 2 reveal, we finally got a new brief look at the upcoming From Software title of Dusk Bloods that will show the vampiric and gothic location that feels like a possible sequel to Bloodborne. And while it was not much, we got the confirmation that the game will be getting a closed network test releasing in the summer, and then likely a full release later in the year. Then it was a new entry in the long-running popular series with a new single-player focused narrative of Splatoon Raiders that will have you as a scavenger as you and a research team look for materials and resources to help with some things back home. You will soon find yourself in a strange and dangerous new place, where the title getting a new direct focus on the 30th of June before it's released next month, July 23rd. Then coming a little over a year since the last entry of part of the series, we were headed back down to the strange colorful kingdom found in the strange room in the school, as the 5th chapter in the ever-continuing Deltarune series has been revealed, with glimpses of new enemies and old returning favorites making an appearance for you to challenge your sense of determination. And I'll need to get back to those last 2 chapters and ready to play, with this new free update dropping on the 23rd of June. Then a popular award-winning JRPG will be making a jump to the handhelds, revealed that the title of Metaphor ReFantasio will be coming to Switch 2, with the focus of your character looking to be elected as the new royal of the land by making appeal and favor to the people of the land itself, while strange creatures called humans that I may be looking to make some for some time now, and it looks like it'd be well worth trying on the go. We have a date for them releasing this on the 12th of November. And similar to its release on every former console, PC, and mobile device, it looks like Minecraft will be getting a Switch 2 edition edition with updated visuals and elements for those new versions of the title, with the Switch 2 edition coming sometime later this year. It was then the usual montage of titles near the end of the event, where it started with a brief look at the new entry of Alteria Caria with the Night Kingdom and the Guide of Memories that looks to bring high-octane action, fast-paced combat, and some interesting world and narrative and animated visuals to explore, which will come together when releases in early 2027. Then the popular title Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2 is also making the jump to the Switch 2, and we'll see you in a big mech, a big weapon, smashing up enemies and danger. It's for the greater good, and I'm sure it'll be worth a try when releases sometime later this fall. Then things will begin a little bit scary in the cyberspace if you get the confirmation that remaster redux of Observer that will have you trying to escape a digital hellscape that we found yourself trapped in. I've heard a fair amount of decent appeal to this title. It maybe gives us a try in the future when releases on the 18th of June. Then a title I was not expecting to see drop was the reveal of the massive online multiplayer game of DayZ has come to the console that will see you scavenge supplies and stay alive from the undead and other survivors that I have heard and improved since early days of about a decade ago, which we will try when it releases some point later this year as well. We then got another new look at the upcoming second volume Metal Gear Solid title that will call System MGS4, Peace Walker, and Portable Ops. Now it feels a little light on content compared to Volume 1, but maybe they could do at least one more volume with more recent titles, but I guess we could see by its release on the 27th of August. Then a surprise reveal was the next entry of the Tomb Raider reboot trilogy with Rise itself, with the 20-year celebration edition that was unveiled and see the continued narrative of Lara's next adventure following the 2013 reboot. I'm sure it'll be well for seeing how it plays, with the title being one of the only games released on the same day of the event. Then an all-new look and reveal was given to the remaster of Tales of Eternia that will bring you back to an all-new visually updated look at the popular title. The past looks very clean and maybe a bit of an interesting title to try when released on the 16th of October. Then one last title releasing on the same day of the event is the title of SnowRunner that will see you travel across rough terrain and weather elements to get your destination and get the cargo to the location it's needed on time. I'm sure it'll be repealed and maybe worth a look into in due time in this regards. The second last title from this montage was the reveal of another Switch 2 edition title which was getting moving and exercising with the release of Fitboxing Free that will have you punching to the beat of the music and patting the screen to help you really get in shape. I'm sure this could appeal similar to the likes of Ring Fit or Just Dance, with the title version releasing on the 16th of July. And then the last titles in the montage of other games to come was the title of Everbloom, which seems to be the only sole cozy farming sim of the event that will have you take control of the cute anthropomorphic animals and create a cozy way of life for all of them. It looks nice and simple. I'm sure it'll be an appeal to check it out, but I guess we'll see by its release in early 2027. Then it was time for some more magical adventures to find what is pure from the darkness, as it was announced the complete collection of a Kingdom Hearts will be making its way to the Switch 2, escaping from the cloud versions found in the original console that will consist of the complete editions of the first 3 games with the bonus content, which does appeal, and I will say, and having them all in one place makes it totally worth investing in, with the title set to drop on the 8th of October. Then it was not the only news from the series of the event, as immediately after the reveal was the first time in about 4 years they finally showed some new brief footage of the 4th mainline Kingdom Hearts game that will now also be confirmed to be coming to the console on the same day as other events. That will see a new real world setting, darker and more powerful creatures, and many new worlds to explore possibly in the regards of things, but I'm sure this will be worth a try when it releases in the near future. And then it was just free tones of the and to bring the conference to an end, 3 simple notes were enough to activate many in the sense of joy, as there are being reported rumors it turns out to be true that an all-new remake of The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time is on the way, and to show a brief teaser of young Link sleeping, and the legend is enough to invest many people into the new console. Now for one, I'm excited to just see how this remake plays in motion. We thankfully know this iconic venture will be looking to bring us back out into our lives when sometime later this year. And that was all that Nintendo had to offer in this direct, which felt a little lacking in the first party titles, and quite a few games that have already released on their platforms, but in this regards over time I think it was a decent conference overall. And while I hope for 1 or 2 other big things like a reveal of a new Ace Attorney title, a 3D Mario game, and a release date for the new Professor Layton New World Steam title, I'm sure we'll see them in due time. But overall, I'm looking forward to playing these titles in due time on my hybrid console and all other friends. But what do you think of this direct? What did you hope to get revealed, and what are you most excited for that was shown off at this event? Let me know what you think down below. And then to wrap up all the news and topics for this week, it is the usual array of a hodgepodge and focus mainly in the film and TV side of things that will consist mainly of new release announcements, projects, and some casting updates that make sure they'll come from the wide world of media in due course. So let's see what there is for choice from this week in discussion. And we start off with a small bit of news updates for a project that we all know about on the way from a few weeks ago, and it seems to the case they were really not really much behind the camera over this first title. It looks like it will be the approach to this new upcoming follow-up, as it was announced that Wild Robot director Chris Sanders will be handling directing duties for the upcoming live-action sequel of Lilo and Stitch. Now, it's not the first time this has been involved with this project, as he was also being the voice of the chaotic blue alien. Sanders was a co-director on the original title from 2002, so seeing him come back is quite a surprise, and probably explains why he's not directing that Wild Robot sequel coming out. And while I would have been fine with the return of the Fleischer Camp, the first live-action remake director, I feel the control of Sanders could help it bring some capacity. Now, as I have no idea what the follow will follow one of the straight-to-DVD films or sequels from like Stitch the Movie, Stitch Has a Glitch, or Leroy and Stitch, but given they need to introduce some new characters like Gatto and stuff into the series, that more than likely it will be something slightly new and likely fix some people's opinions on the divisive ending of that first part. But I guess we'll see when it gets close to its May 2028 release date. Once we have an idea of anything that comes about with this series, I'll find in a later episode. But speaking of directors, it looks like another well-known one will be making a focus of a new adaptation and seems to be regarded to be aiming to hit the high seas in this form. As announced earlier this week, the director Ridley Scott may have its eyes on the next adaptation of a well-beloved book after his focus of, the Dog Stars, and that's an adaptation of Treasure Island. Now, it's not the only bit of news that was confirmed with this. It looks like he already has someone in mind to be cast for this role. The confirmation that the director is eyeing Hugh Jackman for the role of Long John Silver. The choice in this one is not bad. To be fair, Jackman has a bit of charisma to play the character, and he's already played a pirate before in that often forgotten Peter Pan film from 2015. It would be interesting to see who they will get to play Jim and some of the other characters from this narrative. Even if it's more of a sci-fi, I hoped one day we get a live-action take on Treasure Planet. I know all the Disney remakes are bad, but that's the only one I hope for. Now, at the moment, it's unclear if this is Scott's next project of the Dog Stars, because there's reports he's also making a biopic on the Bee Gees as well, but if I hear anything about this, I'll provide that in a later episode in this regards of things. The next of the project announcements that was one initially seen as a bit of a comedic joke that was in focus from the end of the last entry of the previous title, but looks like these two will be going back undercover for an all-new mission, as was announced on Wednesday of this week that we're getting a new entry in the Jump Street series with 24 Jump Street. Now, I know what you're thinking, what about 23? Well, in the focus of the image of the script that was posted, it makes the joke that it took so long we had to skip one, so the ideas of a follow-up in this method makes much sense of a joke overall. Now, we have some ideas to who's involved. It's confirmed the trio stars of Jonah Hill, Channing Tatum, and Ice Cube will all be making a return to this follow-up. We also have known the film will be helmed by Ronnie Rothman, one of the writers of Into the Spider-Verse, who will be directing and also writing the script with Hale and Megan Malloy. So I'm interested to see the case of what we'll do with this title. The two questions I have with this follow-up is one of the joke parody jump streets they had in the credits for 22 Jump Street, from medical, foreign exchange, and even from Space Camp. Maybe this will bring back initial concept for a film that was going to be a crossover in Black. So one of them could be the focus of this next title. The other is, will the duo of Phil Lord and Chris Miller be involved in any form, as they were the directing duo of the original two, because I fear their flair, even if it's an executive producer, will still appeal in this regards of things. Now, I'm intrigued to see what will come out of this, and currently there's no projected release date for this, but once I hear anything new about this project, I'll probably talk about it in a later episode. The last of the project announcements is bringing us back to another classic from the bygone era of the 80s, and will be one that bring a lot of pop, sparkle, and music magic, as confirmed earlier this week that an all-new TV series based on the classic cartoon of Jem and the Holograms is currently in the works for Amazon Prime and being helmed by Kilter Films, the company created by Lisa Joy and Jonathan Nolan. Now, for those uninitiated, Jem is a series from the 80s that focused on a woman named Jerrica Barton, head of a record label known as Starlight Music by day, but by night becomes Jem, the lead member of a rock band of Jem and the Holograms, using the power of a powerful holographic computer known as Synergy, and must keep her dual identities a secret, the holographic computer known as technology for falling into the wrong hands, and dealing with the rivals in career and bands. Essentially an 80s version of Hannah Montana, if you want to will, in that regards. Now, the idea of this being made into a series in the 80s television series was likely going to happen, as we've seen that with other big franchises of that time, like Transformers, G.I. Joe, and He-Man, as at the first attempt of as well as they tried with the film in 2015, but the less said about that project, the better. Now, the likes of when we will see this project as well of who will portray Jem and her bandmates is currently unclear, but once you hear anything about this, I'll provide in a later episode as well. But what do you make of these stories? Do you think Sanders is a good choice for the Lilo and Stitch sequel? Do you think Ridley Scott can do a solid Treasure Island adaptation? What do you see the location of the new Jump Street film will entail? What are your thoughts on live action Jem series, and who should play the lead? Let me know what you think down below. In all regards, that's all the news stories we do have for this week.
Yo ho, a pirate's life for me.
And now in case with all that regards, it ends episode 160 of Weird My Newsroom. Hojo and ramblings for probably over 40 minutes or something. Anyways, let's fire through these quick updates and stuff. So, reviews. I will be getting back to those reviews in due time. These last 2 weeks of just like conferences and everything, that has basically taken a toll on me and I'm exhausted talking about them. But I will find time to do back to reviews and stuff in regards of things. With Digital Circus coming to inclusion, I want to give a focus maybe that next as well. So probably going to try and finish Last of Us and get onto that one. And do some Snack Size Box Office ones as well, some variations of genres and films and all that sort of stuff. Maybe even Toy Story review when that comes out. Gameplay stuff in that regards of things. I'm trying to upload a few more of the VODs I have, just trying to save them when I can. Sometimes just because my streams keeps cutting out, like just because the Wi-Fi is suddenly bad now. Like I get a new like booster router kind of thing to make it work better. But those will be coming along. I've just uploaded Hollow Knight Part 2. I will get back to Part 1 and I will continue on the journey in the game in due time, as well as uploading more and more of the Tomodachi live streams that basically in there. So once I clear them out, I'll be getting around doing some more stuff. But those will be coming along in due time, as well in case of some other games like DK Bonanza, Mario Wonder, Cyberpunk, Star Wars Outlaws, as well new games like Ventilate, Resident Evil 4, Tomb Card, Forspoken, Silent Hill, and all these other titles. So look forward to those in due time in this regards of things. Then in case of long form stuff, the rewatch-a-thon is going to continue happening. The AI audience choice video I promised someone is still happening. Anticipated media I'm probably going to push to next year, just because I feel like at this point it's like mid-June. There's no point in really doing it now. A case of like, you know, time lapse is going to happen, the Horror Most Bored is still going to happen, and all these other ones. So look forward to those in due time in that regards of things. But with that regards now, I think I'll end it there for the moment. So if you want to see more from me more frequently, simply like and subscribe. I upload a new sub every single week and I hope to reach 750 to 1,000 subs. So any support would be greatly appreciated in those regards. And I apologize, it's just been weird mind the last little while. I'm just trying to work around when I can. I've just been a busy man. But let me know your thoughts of all discussed this week from the releases, trailers, and news stories down below, and give your thoughts on everything there. As well as in case you want to get 10% off Pure Crack, use my code Sam Harrison. That's all one word, all caps down below. Link in the description there to get yourself a tasty beverage with 10% off. But with that regards now, I'm going to end there for now. So as always, you all stay wonderful people. Have a great day every day, doing many great things and keeping you because no one else do what you do, and take care of yourself because mental health is very important. Now I've been your host Sam, of course. Now I shall see you all in the next episode. So take care, and I shall see you later.